A text from Donna landed on Catherine's phone. Invoice, room and board, $800 per month for 3 months. Wear and tear surcharge. Total, $2,400. Catherine stared at the screen, her half-empty coffee mug forgotten as the number burned into her vision. She pressed the call button under the name Mom. The line clicked. Donna picked up before the second ring.
Yes, Catherine. I assume you saw the invoice.
You're charging Mia rent for a bedroom in her grandparents' house?
Nothing is free. She uses the room, electricity, water. 3 months is a long time.
She's 14, Donna. Your granddaughter.
Then come pick her up. We're not running a charity.
The line went dead. Catherine stood frozen for 3 seconds, then grabbed her car keys from the counter. She was out the door before the coffee had stopped steaming, already calculating the 380 miles ahead. The afternoon sun was high and harsh, and Catherine had already crossed 2 state lines, her mind looping through the same cold words. She told the car to call Mia, and the phone screen lit up with her daughter's photo.
Mom? I didn't expect you to call. Is everything okay?
It will be. I'm on my way. Tell me what's happening there.
Grandma said I can't use the kitchen without permission. She made me pack my things and put them in the hall.
She told you to pack? Did she say why?
She just said the visit was over. I've been sitting on my bed ever since. Did I do something wrong?
Catherine wiped the moisture from her cheek with the back of her hand, forcing her voice steady.
You did nothing wrong, Mia. None of this is your fault. I'll be there before dark. Just wait inside.
The speedometer needle climbed as the road stretched ahead, the miles between her and her daughter shrinking with every breath. The house looked smaller than she remembered, paint peeling, the porch light already on against the dusk. On the front step sat Mia, her pink suitcase beside her, head down, her body folded into itself. Catherine killed the engine and was out of the car before the wheels had fully stopped. She ran up the walkway, gravel crunching under her feet, her heart slamming against her ribs.
Mia, baby, it's Mom. I'm here.
Mia looked up, her face crumpling, and she threw herself into Catherine's arms, the suitcase toppling over.
Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't know what I did wrong.
You did nothing. Nothing. I've got you.
Through the window, Donna stood watching, her arms crossed, her lips pressed into a thin line. She said nothing. Catherine held Mia tighter, her eyes still on the empty doorway, and she knew nothing here would ever be the same. Catherine lifted the pink suitcase from the porch and guided Mia toward the car, her jaw set tight. She opened the passenger door and waited until Mia was buckled in before closing it gently. The engine turned over, and Catherine pulled onto the street, refusing to check the rearview mirror.
Grandma said having me was too expensive, that you should have sent more money.
You are not a cost, Mia. You were never supposed to be a transaction.
Her hands trembled on the wheel, but she kept her voice low and steady for Mia.
I don't think I want to come back here, ever.
You won't have to, I promise.
The old house shrank in the side mirror until it was just a dark shape against the dusk. Catherine squeezed Mia's hand, and they drove into the coming night, leaving everything behind but the anger. It was past midnight when Catherine finally pulled the covers up to Mia's chin and kissed her forehead.
You're safe now. Sleep.
The house fell quiet, and Catherine stood in the kitchen, the silence pressing against her ears. She thought of Donna's voice, the invoice, and the look on her mother's face, and her blood ran hot again. Then she remembered the basement, the boxes Donna had dumped there years ago, all Grandpa Henry's things. Catherine walked down the creaking stairs, the bare bulb casting long shadows across the concrete. In the corner, 3 cardboard boxes sat stacked, the word Henry scrawled on top in faded marker. She hadn't touched them since Donna brought them over, but now something pulled at her. She pulled the first box close and lifted the flaps.
Maybe there's something in here that can help.
Catherine lifted out the old letters and photographs, and at the bottom, a small wooden box with a brass clasp. She opened the box. Inside sat a sealed manila envelope, the ink still dark after decades. She held the envelope up to the dim light. The words were Henry's, for my granddaughter when she's grown. Her fingers tore the seal, and she drew out a thick legal document, its edges crisp despite the years. I, Henry Reeves, hereby place the property in an irrevocable family trust. Catherine Reeves, residual beneficiary, upon her 30th birthday. Catherine devoured the terms. A life tenancy for Donna and Frank. No power to charge rent to any family member. Dated 1973. She traced the notary seal with her thumb. The trust had vested 5 years ago. She had been the legal owner all along.
He trusted me with the house, and she buried this in a basement. She charged my daughter rent on a house she doesn't own.
The truth hit like a wave, but Catherine's grip on the page was now steady. She was no longer just angry, she was armed. The kitchen was gray with early morning light as Catherine reread the trust deed, each word heavy with new meaning. She traced the clause again. No rent shall be charged to any family member. The words were ironclad.
This changes everything. It was in her name, and Donna knew.
She reached for her phone on the counter and scrolled to Joseph Okonkwo's contact without hesitation.
Joseph, it's Catherine Reeves. I'm sorry for the early call, but I found something you need to see.
Catherine, what's happened? You sound shaken.
A trust deed. My grandfather Henry's. It says the house was never my parents' to charge for. It's been mine for 5 years.
Don't say another word to them. Bring the deed to my office this morning, immediately.
I'll be there within the hour.
She set the phone down and laid the deed flat on the table, her war chest now open and the fight finally legal. Catherine slid the trust deed into a leather folder and zipped her bag, her movements quick and deliberate. 20 minutes later, she stepped into the quiet legal office, the folder clutched against her chest. Joseph looked up from his desk as she entered, his expression already grave.
Catherine, you sounded shaken on the phone. Let me see it.
She spread the trust deed across his desk. Joseph pulled on his reading glasses and leaned in.
Irrevocable trust. Life tenancy with no right to rent. Residual beneficiary at age 30. This is airtight.
So they never had any right to charge Mia. Not a cent.
None. And they've been living there without legal standing since you turned 30. 5 years. I recommend we file a motion to enforce the trust immediately. It will be sudden, but it's the strongest move.
Catherine's next question died on her lips. She stood, shook his hand, and left, the weight of the choice settling over her. Catherine found Mia in the living room, curled on the couch. She sat beside her and placed the trust deed on the coffee table.
This is a trust deed from your great-grandfather Henry. It says the house always belonged to me, not them.
So Grandma couldn't ask for money?
Never. She had no right. But I have to decide what to do now.
I don't want to lose Grandma and Grandpa, but I don't want to feel like a guest who has to pay.
You never will again. I promise.
Catherine squeezed her hand, then stood and walked to the kitchen, her phone already in her grip.
Joseph, file the motion. Immediately.
I'll draft it tonight and have it served within 48 hours. Are you certain?
Catherine answered without a tremor. The line clicked silent, and the machinery of the law began to turn. 2 days later, Catherine parked across the street, the same peeling house filling her window. A dark sedan pulled up. A man in a pressed shirt stepped out, an envelope clutched in his hand. He rang the bell. Donna opened the door a crack, her face already hardening with suspicion.
What is this?
The server recited the legal formula, then pressed the envelope into her hands and walked away. Through the screen, Donna tore the seal. Her eyes flicked down the page, and her whole body went rigid. Catherine watched from 30 feet away, her pulse steady, her hands unmoving on the wheel. Donna's gaze lifted from the paper and swept the street, but she did not see Catherine in the shadow of the tree. Then the door slammed, and the house fell into an angry silence. Catherine turned the key and pulled slowly away, knowing the next step was discovery and that the truth was now official. Weeks after service, Catherine was in her kitchen when Joseph called, his voice tight.
I've got the bank records. Donna's been running a rental. $2,800 a month deposited the first of every month for 6 years.
Catherine scribbled numbers on a napkin. $33,600 a year. 6 years.
That's $201,600. She collected rent from a basement while billing my child.
The trust forbids any rent. This is fraud. I'm filing an amended complaint.
The basement key hung on her own hook, unused as the magnitudes sank in. Donna had been a secret landlord on someone else's property.
She asked Mia for $800 while she was pocketing $2,800 a month.
The call ended, and Catherine sat still, the trust deed beside her and the war now uncontainable. The morning after Joseph's revelation, Catherine was back in his office, her face taut but her voice steady.
I don't want to put them on the street, Joseph. That's not who I am. But control is non-negotiable.
Then we convert their life tenancy into a formal lease. You become the landlord, with all the rights Henry intended.
And the $201,600? That's their debt, not a windfall for me.
We can apply it as prepaid rent. Fair market rate here is $3,400 a month. The $201,600 covers roughly 4 years of payments.
They live rent-free for 4 years, then pay fair rent after that. But I need a permanent clause.
She pulled a fresh page and wrote in clear block letters, Mia's bedroom, rent-free in perpetuity.
No family member will ever be charged for that room again. Not by them, not by anyone. It's non-negotiable.
The court will need to approve it. But this is exactly the kind of structured remedy Judge Marlowe respects. I'll draft the settlement tonight.
Catherine nodded, but her mind was already on the day she'd stand in that house as its legal owner, with the deed in one hand and Mia's future locked in the other. Joseph filed the settlement offer that afternoon, the pages stamped and entered into the system before the courthouse closed.
Catherine, Donna's attorney, refused the settlement. She's demanding a hearing, hoping to challenge the trust.
Then we'll see her in court. I'm not afraid to face her.
The hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks later, a single date that would decide the house and the future.
3 weeks to prepare for the fight of my life. To protect Mia, I'd walk into fire.
This could get personal, Catherine. Donna will likely try to discredit you, paint you as greedy.
Let her. I have the truth, the deed, and years of patience. She has nothing but lies.
At home, she rehearsed every question with Joseph by phone, turning Henry's words into armor. The night before the hearing, she barely slept, staring at her grandfather's picture until dawn broke. She dressed in a crisp blazer, placed the trust deed in her bag, and walked out to meet the fight. The courtroom was silent when Joseph rose, the trust deed held before him like a blade.
Your Honor, I submit the original trust deed, notarized in 1973, and bank records showing $201,600 in unauthorized rental income.
Donna's attorney stood to object, but the documents left him no ground.
Mrs. Reeves, did you know the trust prohibited charging rent to any family member? I thought the document wasn't valid. It was so old.
Catherine watched her mother stumble over the lie, her own hands steady on the table. Judge Marlowe removed her glasses slowly, her gaze pinning Donna.
Ignorance is no defense. I order full restitution and grant the petition to restructure the tenancy.
The gavel fell, and Frank buried his face in his hands. Donna stared at the judge, her mouth working soundlessly. Outside, Catherine breathed deeply, the trust deed in her bag and a new kind of power in her chest. Catherine spotted Donna and Frank on the courthouse steps, their attorney having walked off without a second glance.
Donna, we need to talk about what happens now. There won't be any more hiding.
You've taken everything. Are you happy now?
Catherine didn't blink. She withdrew the settlement terms from her bag, the paper crisp in the sunlight.
You'll stay in the house, but as tenants. The €201,600 you collected will cover rent for 4 years. Then you pay market rate.
Catherine, please, we never meant any harm.
Don't you dare apologize, Frank. She's been waiting for this.
I've been waiting for you to face the truth. You will never charge another family member for anything again. Mia's room is untouchable.
Donna's hand shook around her purse strap, but no words came. Catherine turned and walked to her car, the trust deed in her bag and the first real peace in years settling over her. In Joseph's conference room, the final lease lay spread across the table, every term dictated by Catherine.
The tenancy is converted. Prepaid rent for 4 years from the $201,600 thereafter, $3,400 monthly.
So we become your tenants in a house we lived in for decades.
A house that was never yours. The court was clear.
Donna reached for the pen as if it burned, her jaw set tight.
Mia's bedroom is rent-free in perpetuity. No family member may be charged.
Donna scrawled her name, then slammed the pen down, the sound sharp in the quiet room. Frank signed quickly, his silence heavier than any word. Catherine signed last, the pen firm in her hand, the trust deed beside the lease like a silent witness. Joseph notarized the pages, then shook Catherine's hand. The house was now officially under her rule. Catherine pulled into the driveway, a set of new keys heavy in her pocket, and a printed notice clenched in her hand. She walked around the side, down the cracked steps to the basement entrance, where a dim light glowed behind the curtain.
I'm Catherine Reeves, the new owner. Your rent comes to me now. This notice explains.
Donna was watching from the upstairs window, the curtain bunched in her fist, her face a stone mask of silent fury. Catherine pinned the notice to the door. Payments to Catherine Reeves. Then she took out a new key.
The old key is useless. This one opens your door, and it's the only one that will.
She climbed the stairs and walked toward the front of the house, not bothering to look back.
You think you can just walk in here and rule like a queen?
I don't think, Donna. I am. The deed and the lease have made it so.
She stepped inside and headed for Mia's bedroom, leaving Donna in the doorway, the final confrontation just ahead. Catherine drove Mia back to the old house, the trust deed secure in her bag. They stepped inside. Donna was standing in the foyer, arms crossed, her eyes burning. Catherine led Mia past her without a word and down the hallway to the bedroom. She stopped at the door and drew a small framed document from her bag. The paper read, "Mia's bedroom, rent-free forever," in bold, permanent letters.
This room is yours. No one will ever charge you for it again.
She hung the frame above the doorknob, the glass catching the afternoon light.
It's really mine? Forever?
She fell into Catherine's arms, and Catherine held her, the weight of the fight finally lifting. From the hallway, Donna's shadow shifted and retreated, but no one turned to look. Catherine told Mia to wait in the car, then walked into the kitchen where Donna stood rigid by the stove.
Grandpa Henry made sure I'd be protected. You buried his trust deed for 30 years.
Donna lifted her phone as if to dial someone, then froze, the screen lighting her blank face.
You'll live in this house, but never own it. And you'll never charge family again.
The trust deed lay on the counter between them, like a line no one would cross.
From now on, the basement rent is mine. Mia's room is untouchable. It's all in writing.
Donna's lips parted, but the sound died before it formed. Her hand tightened on the mug.
Goodbye, Donna.
Catherine picked up her purse and walked to the front door without looking back. In the living room window, Donna's silhouette stayed frozen, the phone still clutched in her hand. The car pulled away from the curb, and Catherine glanced once in the rearview mirror, her jaw set. Donna's silhouette was still at the window, frozen, the phone clutched in her hand. Catherine's hands were steady on the wheel. The trust deed folder rested against her leg, a hard corner of security.
Are you okay, Mom?
I'm fine, Mia. Better than I've been in years.
Mia turned back to the window and her shoulders finally dropped from her ears. Behind them, the house became a tiny speck, the sunset blazing orange behind it.
We're going home now. That room is yours forever. No one can touch it.
Mia reached across and laid her fingers over her mother's hand on the gear shift. They drove on into the evening, the weight of the past falling away with every mile. The road stretched on, the sky softening into twilight. Mia turned from the window. She looked at her mother.
Tell me about Grandpa Henry, the real story. Why did he set up the trust?
He was a quiet man with strong hands. He worked 40 years in a textile mill, and he understood that some people see family as something to use.
She spoke about the way he'd always slip a chocolate bar into her pocket after church, and how he never let her leave his house without a full belly.
He set up the trust when my own parents started showing their true colors. He said the house should protect the next generation, not be a weapon against them.
I think he knew I'd need a safe room someday, even before I was born.
Next week, we'll visit his grave together. We'll bring flowers and tell him thank you.
She squeezed Mia's hand just a little tighter. The headlights of their car swept through the gathering darkness, and the road ahead seemed less heavy now. They drove on toward home, the conversation falling into a comfortable silence, the deed resting close, and the future finally feeling like theirs. Catherine's home was quiet when she walked through the door. Mia was already in bed, the house still. She carried the trust deed to the wall safe in her study, spinning the dial with practiced ease. Inside, beside her will and passport, sat a silver-framed photograph of Henry. She laid the deed alongside the picture, her fingers brushing the glass. For a moment, she just looked. The paper had saved them all. She closed the safe door and spun the lock, the click final. Straightening up, she looked around the quiet, sunlit living room, the last light of the day soft on the walls.
We won.
The smile that crossed her face was small and certain. Then she headed toward Mia's room to check on her. The story complete at last.